This is my best girl Stardew Valley waifu tier list. Okay, not all of them are waifus. Originally I was only going to do the marriage candidates, but I thought it would also be neat to go ahead and throw the other characters in there as well, but we are going to start with the marriage candidates, starting with Emily, who is weird. And because she's weird, we're going to put her in D tier. I'd put her in F tier if she didn't know how to do things. But she does have some skills, so she saved herself. Just too weird for me, man. Next up is going to be Maru, who is actually a pretty cool character, but I'm going to put her in B tier. Sure, she's a rocket scientist and all that, but she's so nerdy. If she could get rid of the overalls and get like a bit of a makeover there, we could probably bump her up to A tier, but until that happens, in B tier you go. Next up is Abigail, and we'll put her in F tier. Most of you would probably put her in A or S tier, but I just can't get over that she eats rocks. That really weirds me out. She has a lot of positive qualities too. She's the daughter of a wizard, she's a fighter, but she eats rocks and I cannot forgive her for that. Next up is Leia, who is somewhere between A and S tier, but I'm going to put her in A tier since we want to reserve S tier for our very limited number of characters here. Like Emily, Leia has a lot of skills, except she's not weird, which bumps her way up here, and I know a lot of people that are pretty fond of her as well. Only two left, and these two are my personal favorites. That is Penny and Haley, so we'll do Penny next. Penny is truly an S tier, and I want to put her at S tier because she's, oh man, she's my second favorite. However, I'm going to put her in A tier. There's basically nothing preventing me from putting her in S tier. Other than that, I only want one character to actually be there. So, just like Leia, Penny is AS. She's perfect. She's a homemaker. She's empathetic. She's good with kids. There's basically no qualities missing from Penny. However, since we can only have one S tier for the marriage candidates, that position goes to Haley. And it's funny too because Haley actually starts out as an F tier as far as her personality and everything goes, and then as you go through her story, you start to realize she's not an A tier, she's not an F tier, she's an S tier. She has a lot of character progression as you play the game, and the more you see her progress, the more that you like this character. And I really like the idea of playing through a story and having the least appealing character end up being the most appealing, so there's the winner in my book. Huge character transformation. So now that we've gotten the partners out of the way, let's move on to the villagers of Stardew Valley. Starting with Caroline, who, like Abigail, goes into F tier. She's ruined her family, she's cheated on her husband, she's made her daughter's life a living hell. If there were a tier lower than F tier, I'd put her in that. She's just not a very nice person. Now for the villagers, I will allow more than one S tier, and that is because Granny goes into S tier. Yes, Granny is a legend. There's no more needed to be said about that. Jazz is going to get a C tier because she's neither well developed or too undeveloped. She just kind of exists, and that's where C tier is. It just exists. Pam, on the other hand, we all know what to do with her. She's either going in D tier or F tier. Pam can be redeemed. She fleshes out a little bit more to be more of a misunderstood character. I'll put her in D tier, where I guess this is the misunderstood tier, and this is the just awful human being tier. Speaking of which, I do believe Jody is either going to fall into C tier or D tier. This is just a miserable human being. She is so unhappy all the time, but at the same time she's so easy to please in the game, so I'm thinking somewhere between C or D. You know what, I'm gonna put you in D tier. You are just a rain cloud. Let's do Birdie next. Birdie is a character that you will quickly forget about, so I'm going to put her, yeah, just like Jez. I'm going to put her in C tier. She shows up, does her thing, and then you sort of forget she exists. The realm of the forgotten. Next up is going to be Sandy, who actually is kind of a cool character. And she's one of the few characters in the desert too. So I'm going to put her in B tier just because she's memorable and useful. Only two left, Marnie and Robin. So starting with Marnie, I'm going to put her in the forgettable tier. No, she's not really forgettable. But she's annoying and she bothers me. Oh no, now I want to put her in D tier. Yep, Marnie, you know what? I've got to work for her to get those underpants from the mayor. And then she kind of sucks at her job. And she never shows up for work on time. We're going to leave it at D tier. Last but not least, the final character, Robin, is probably my favorite character, so we're gonna put her in S tier. This woman is a legend. She does everything. She builds all your stuff. She knows how to do everything. You will always need her for something. Imagine your toilet breaking, and instead of you going to fix it, Robin goes and fixes it for you. A light goes out in your house, and she goes and fixes it. The sink needs repairs. She goes and repairs it. Robin is a legend. Right up there with Granny and Haley. So that's my tier list for the best girls of Stardew Valley. I know I'm gonna get so much hate putting Abigail down there, but I can't forgive the rocks. Let me know if y'all want to see any more tier lists. I sure had fun doing this one. Peace.